Come on, over here, you fiends! Perish, foul creatures! I am Siegmeyer of Katarina, and you shall feel my wrath. Those were the words that were said by one of my favorite characters from Dark Souls. I played Dark Souls for the first time in 2021, and somehow the game attracted me like a moth to a flame. I finished the game multiple times since, but never actually completed the game on the New Game Plus, finished different NPC questlines, found different weapons or covenants. Heck, I didn't even know that the game had two different endings. I would always have a standard route from start to finish and feel somewhat accomplished finishing the game. I recently started collecting platinum trophies for the games in my library and thought, why not collect the platinum for Dark Souls? It should be easy, right? So I thought. And boy, was I wrong. Hello everyone, and welcome to my journey of collecting Platinum Trophy for Dark Souls. Before going through the lands of Lordran, I decided to check out the trophy guide so that I stay on track and collect as many items as possible which are needed for some of the trophies in this game. And there was a long list ahead of me. I would say most of the trophies in this game are pretty straightforward and pretty easy if you're following the guide, except this one dreaded trophy which requires you to play the game almost 3 times, but more on that as we go along the ride. This Baka is a pyromancer with a master key in his pocket who just escapes his cell located in the undead asylum. We then come across this strange looking sword covered in ashes and decided to light it up, which got us our first trophy. We then come across this dying knight who gives us a flask which contains fire to replenish our will to move forward. This gets us another trophy. Moving forward, we fight off a demon who is blocking the exit, and we burn the demon to crisp. We open the door to freedom and get grabbed by a giant crow who then throws us at a shrine of sorts, which will act as our main hub throughout our journey, and we get a trophy as a sign of appreciation from the devs for reaching this far. Moving forward, we find another bonfire and meet up with lots of kind strangers. As you can see, this land is filled with welcoming folks who jump at us with joy. We then come across this wall of fog that looked quite intriguing and we pass through it. Turns out this was a trap, and now we have to fight off against a giant monstrosity which low-key reminded me of Zod from the Berserk series. Unlike Zod, this guy wasn't so strong. We finished him off rather easily. After that, we are blessed by seeing this beautiful man who's standing like a ray of sunshine to brighten our journey. We then see this dragon blocking the path ahead of us and decide to teach it a lesson by cutting off its tail, which gets us one of the most overpowered starting weapons in the game, the Drake Sword. However, we are too weak to wield it properly. We then come across this knight who was a bit challenging to beat with our low stats and poor skills, but somehow we still managed to pull off a victory and get his sword. So, I mentioned about this dreaded trophy at the start of the video, which is the worst trophy ever, which is called the Knight's Honor, which makes us collect a long list of swords and shields, and some of them can require a lot of grinding and luck to get. Well, both the Drake Sword and the Black Knight Sword are in this long list. Moving forward, we meet up with Siegmeyer, whose quest is kind of important to complete in this playthrough. After a good amount of grinding, we level up and can now equip the Drake Sword and find this shield which will be used throughout our journey. Along the way, we kill another Black Knight who gives us his shield, which is another item in the list, and we also find this Firekeeper Soul. Just to get more prepared, we use the Firekeeper Soul, which increases the efficiency of our Estus flask. We come across this kind sir who asks us to join his covenant, and we just couldn't resist from saying yes. Joining him gets us the Way of White trophy. We then fight off against this shady looking guy who wants to kill the Firekeeper at our hub, so we take care of him. After that, we team up with Solaire and fight off against these 2 giant gargoyles, which was a piece of cake, and also get a sunlight medal which will come handy later on in the journey. We ring the first bell atop of this church, which gets us a trophy. We then make our way through this garden of sorts and fight off against this giant guy and defeat him to get his ring, which lets us carry more weight. Then we fight this giant hydra which is blocking our path. Killing it lets us access this lake, and upon reaching the end of it, we see this golden crystallized monster who turns out to be a princess. She gives us her crown as a reward for freeing her, and we can also buy some magic of her which will be needed for one of the trophies. Moving forward, we fight off against this demon who roams with his doggos and is super easy to kill, and we get a key to get into the depths. In the depths, we find a large ember, fight off against a large group of rats and geckos who are pretty good for farming Eye of Death and humanity, but more on that later. We then team up with Solaire again to fight off against this giant dragon. Cutting its tail got us the giant axe, but it got quite angry and killed us. I ended up fighting it alone and easily managed to come out victorious. We travel further through the depths into Shite Town. Blight Town, and find a pyro spell, which will be needed for another collection trophy. Moving forward, we make a new friend and team up with her to fight off against the big spider lady boss. After killing her, we ring the next bell which unlocks the door that was blocking Siegmeyer's path, and we get a trophy. We then meet up with another spider lady who is very kind, and we end up joining her covenant, which gets us another trophy. After that, we fight another boss who is legit a joke. However, killing it gets a good chunk of souls and clears some lava blocking our path. Since I wanted to become a pyromancer in this playthrough, I decided to start my training. I fought off against a load of demons to hone my skills and learned the art of flame from the egg dude. With my basics clear, I traveled through the swampy Blight Town and found my master. Master taught me some new tricks, and with this newfound power, I traveled through the Great Hollow fighting off against the mushroom guys to Ash Lake. I still remember how surprised I was seeing this place for the first time when I played through Dark Souls, and to this date, this area still gives me chills. Here in the Ash Lake, we meet up with another legendary master and decide to join their covenant, which gives us another trophy. I mean, who better to learn the art of fire from than a dragon? At this point, the feeling of betraying my former master started tormenting me, and in fear and rage, I cut down the dragon master's tail, which got me a giant sword. We then restart our training again, traversing the swamp, learning some new tricks, and ascending our pyro flame to its max potential, which makes our master proud. After that, we finally leave the town for good, find Astora's weapons, find an uncharted ember, and join the Forest Hunters Covenant. Moving forward, we find this giant good boy guarding his master's legacy, and I would just like to say, I'm sorry, boy. We also find a giant butterfly who tries to shoot us down, but we were faster. Then came a grind fest, which made me kill these stone armored guys again and again to get their sword and shield for my long list. This legit took quite a lot of time to get. After that, we went through Sen's Playhouse, collecting pretty much everything there is to collect, freeing Big Hat Logan, and ending up fighting the Iron Golem, who was super tough at this point. Then, these strange demonic creatures pick us up and carry us towards Anor Londo, which gets us another trophy. After some more grindfest here at the start, we unlock more weapons for the list and journey further towards the main palace. We get shot down by these annoying archers multiple times until we finally make it out alive. We meet our best pals Solaire and Siegmeyer again and collect more weapons for the list. We then come across this giant fog gate which makes us duel against the legendary golden duo of Ornstein and Smoke. Again, in order to achieve Knight's honor, we need to acquire each of their souls. Since I usually go for Super Smoke all the time, and knowing the new game +1 will be a bit more harder, I decided to choose Ornstein in this playthrough. It took me a few tries, but I finished Super Ornstein and acquired his soul. After that, I met with Her Majesty, who invited me to join her covenant, and I mean, how can I say no? This got me 2 more trophies. At this point, we have gathered enough faith to join Solaire's Sunlight Covenant, which got us another trophy. We also free Griggs and Laurentius, who can teach us more spells, and farmed Eyes of Deaths and Humanity in the depths, which are kind of a necessity to get some more items in the list. We then level up our allegiance with the nice spider lady by offering 30 humanities to unlock a certain shortcut needed to save Solaire. At this point, I was going here and there all over the place and thought of revisiting the Undead Asylum, where we found another demon and a peculiar looking doll. Also, we fought Hollow Oscar from the start, who kindly gave us his shield. Turns out that the doll acts as a key to a secret world within the game. I reached this location and found a number of different items from the list. I also farmed for 10 souvenirs of reprisals, which is another annoying item required for another item in the list. I know, it sounds crazy. And guess what? It was pretty crazy going for these items. After acquiring all the items from the list, I decided to get out of the painted world. The path back was blocked by Priscilla, another boss, who we technically don't need to fight, but I had to because I needed to cut off her tail to get another item from the list. Well, this was legit the most toughest part of this run. I just could not do it and failed a good number of times. I was so frustrated that I accidentally killed her, which means that I'll need to come back to this place in the next playthrough. After escaping this area, we head towards the New Londo ruins, where we meet another merchant who tells us about the abyss and gives us the key to unlock the damn gate. We then proceed forward and make it to the abyss, where we fight the 4 kings, who are kind of easy thanks to Hawal's tanky armor. Killing them gets us a trophy and an audience with Kath, who's a primordial serpent and the leader of the Dark Wraith Covenant, who wants us to kill Gwen and bring upon the Age of the Dark. Well, in order to do that, we need to acquire 3 remaining Lord Souls. I decided to go for the Bed of Chaos next and teleported back to the Fair Lady. We get infected by strange insects along the way and get treated by the Egg Dude, and also get a new Pyro spell. We then fight 2 more bosses who are pretty easy and find 2 embers, which are needed later on. Finally, we reach the Bed of Chaos and put it out of its misery, getting us another trophy. This makes our master super proud, and she blesses us with 1 final fire spell, which gets us the trophy for collecting all the pyro spells. Since I totally forgot to join Kath's Covenant, I went back and became a member, which got me another trophy. This trophy again resembles something from Berserk series. Reaching the Firelink Shrine, we get ditched by Frampt for joining Kath, which I never saw before and thought was a pretty cool touch. To collect another boss soul, we travel through another super annoying section in the game, the Catacombs, where we get killed countless times by the Skellies. We then fight another super hard boss and make our way through the Tomb of Giants. Both the Catacomb and the Tomb of Giant area has a good number of items which are needed for some of the trophies. Sleeping in one of the coffins takes us to Lord Nito, where we can join his covenant and offer 10 Eyes of Death to gain the Gravelord Greatsword Dance. We then make it out, fight Paladin Leroy to gain his weapons and challenge Nito, who again was a very easy fight thanks to Hawal's armor. After killing Nito, we now have to travel back to Anor Londo, where we offer 10 Souvenir of Reprisals to Gwyndolin, which gets us the Dark Moon Blade Miracle and a trophy for joining the Covenant. We then kill Gwyndolin, cause why not, which gets us another trophy. Since this was my first time killing him, I didn't know that the Firekeeper at the start would start attacking me. Well, after that, we travel to the Duke's archive and challenge Seath, who kills us rather easily and throws us in a prison. We then escape this area, collect the necessary items from the list, and save Big Hat Logan again, who now will sell us some magic spells. One of the most irritating items to get in this game is the Channeler's Trident, which can be acquired by killing channelers in the archive. But the drop rate for this item is 1%, which made it a super long grind fest for me. But after countless hours of grinding, I finally managed to get this item. We then freed Sigmayr's daughter and finished his questline, which made me cry and got me a Titanite slab. After that, we went back and fought Seath a second time. Cutting his tail off got us the Moonlight Greatsword, and it took a couple of tries to kill him, which got me another trophy. At this point, only the final boss remained in my way to finish my first playthrough, but I decided to complete all the remaining collectibles and weapon upgrade related trophies in this playthrough. Collecting all the magic got me the Wisdom of Sage, and I upgraded my weapons to get most of the weapon upgrade related trophies. Also, I created a few boss weapons from the souls I had. This whole process took quite a lot of time as I had to farm souls and grind to get the necessary items needed for upgrades. I then rejoined Solaire's Covenant and offered 10 Sunlight Medals, which get the last remaining miracles of this playthrough. Finally, with all the grind related work out of the way, we go up to fight Lord Gwyn. But wait, first I went to kill the Black Knight guards in the final area to acquire their remaining gear. Okay, now with everything done and dusted, I went to fight Lord Gwyn, who was no match for my pyro skills. We walk away from the setting bonfire and the Age of Darkness starts, which gets us the trophy Dark Lord, and the game restarts instantly. Killing all the starting bosses and enemies was a piece of cake, and we offer Lord Gwyn's soul to our covenant, which gets us Prayer of the Maiden. We go through a boss rush fighting off all the bosses in New Game Plus and also fight Super Smoke this time. I upgraded one remaining occult weapon to max, which got me a trophy, and crafted some more boss weapons. This playthrough went very smoothly to my surprise, and I used different upgraded weapons from the last run to cheese my way through the bosses, like using Divine Weapon against Nito and Painted Blade against Four Kings. Except this one part where I failed to cut Priscilla's tail again and accidentally killed her in the process. Now I had to make sure that I cut her tail in the third run, or else would come another dreaded run. Anyway, we killed Gwen again, and this time relit the bonfire, which got me another trophy and started round 3. After killing Sif for the third time, we went to Anor Londo and acquired all the boss weapons. Finally! Now all that is left to do is to cut Priscilla's small tail, and guess what? I fucked it up again, which aggroed her and the boss fight began. Somehow, thanks to the painted sword, I managed to cut it, and this popped the Knight's Honor and the Dark Souls. I threw away my controller and sat down with tears of joy and screamed, "Fuck you, Dark Souls, I'm never gonna play this shit again," which was a lie, as I probably will play again soon. Well, anyway, this was legit the hardest platinum that I've acquired so far, and it has given me a craving to achieve more like this. If you have made it this far through this video, then thank you. It would make me really happy if you could show your support by subscribing to my channel and hitting the like button. Well, thank you again, and see ya.